How's it going, guys? Rachel West here, along with Rick Stroud and Joey Knight. And Bucs season has officially come to an end. Lost to the Rams in the divisional round. And Rick, what a loss! What a game! Losses are never easy, especially season-ending losses. Just how much tougher is it to swallow this one, the fashion that it played out in?
Well, I mean, you're right. They're all tough. And the finality of an NFL season is just so abrupt that it's hard to really get used to. But even harder for a Super Bowl team that brought back 22 players, starters, and had such high expectations. And with all the injuries and falling behind like they did on Sunday, to battle back and tie that game with less than a minute to go. And then to give up, two big plays to Cooper Kupp, of all people, who has dominated this league. Especially the decision to run a full blitz with no safeties in the middle of the field at all. I think that's those 40 seconds or so Bruce Arians told us on Monday he would like to have back, and it's obvious why. We talked to Devin White, who said that everybody got the call correctly, but the biggest problem was they were in a hurry up offense. The Rams were. So it's one thing to get the call communicated, but then to actually get guys lined up looking at the formation that was in front of them. So there were mistakes all around, a tragic way to end the season, and now an offseason full of questions, not the least of which, of course, will be Tom Brady, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I think if you step back a little bit and look at these last 2 years, you would say, wow, what a ride. These guys won 29 games or whatever it was and won a Super Bowl. But it just goes to show you how hard it is in this league, to get to the playoffs and to win and get back to the Super Bowl.
Yep, it certainly has been a wild ride here. And Joey, because they won the Super Bowl last year, before that, this team didn't really have any expectations. Now this year, it was Super Bowl or bust for a lot of people. So looking back on things now, was this season considered a success?
I don't know if a lot of those players would use the word success. I think they're very proud of what they accomplished, considering all the adversity that they went through, particularly the injuries. And of course, some of the non-injury adversity when you think of Antonio Brown and his bizarre departure. But they still won 13 games. That's a franchise regular season record. They still won their first division title in 14 years, but they didn't reach that ultimate goal. Bruce Arians told us today, only one team is successful at the end. It's the team with the rings on their fingers and confetti on their heads. He said, we didn't reach our goal, but I'm really proud of the way we fought for it. And I think that's kind of the prevailing theme of this team. Just guys really proud of what they did despite everything that was thrown in their way. Now, they're still disappointed. Devin White made that clear, They had a goal this year and they kept the nucleus intact, all the starters together. They didn't reach their goal and they're disappointed in that. So success, I don't know if they're going to if all of them to a player are going to use that word, but very, very proud. I think that's certainly the prevailing thing, proud of what they accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Anytime you make the playoffs, that's never easy. So that's definitely good. But Rick, you touched on it a second ago, all the uncertainty now heading into the offseason here. Tom Brady leading the way there. Who knows what's going to happen with him, whether he'll come back, retire. What do you think is going to go into that decision? And when do you think we might find out what Tom Brady's thinking there?
1 second after he makes the decision, I think probably ESPN will have it up there. But listen, Tom Brady had said a year ago when he signed the contract extension to help him with salary cap that he felt confident he would play until he was 45. He turns 45, in next fall, and he is under contract. But there was a different Tom Brady a little bit after the game, and he just wasn't really ready to discuss this. He's gone through this process now for a number of years. The guy's played 21 seasons where he has to, in the emotion of the moment, the thing you don't want to do is make a decision one way or the other, right? So I think he's going to have to take some time. Obviously, the biggest factors will be how does he feel? Well, he's certainly healthy enough. If he walks away, Rachel, he'll be walking away as one of the most successful quarterbacks this year. He won the passing title. He had 43 touchdowns, played great really all through the year. So there's no harm in that. But I think, what's going to be interesting is what the Bucs do if Brady walks away. And we talked to Bruce Arians a little bit. I asked him if he thought the quarterback of the future was on his roster. He said, well, he might be, and that would be Kyle Trask, the only guy they have under contract. He said, but we would probably look behind door number 2. That's how we got Tom Brady. So free agency would be a place that they'd be very active again and see if they can maybe find another veteran quarterback to come in and do what Brady did.
Yeah, I'd say that strategy worked out pretty well for them last time. So we'll see. But Joey, besides Brady, there's a whole slew of other guys who are free agents and aren't going to be putting on that Bucs uniform again, most likely. So just how much different is this locker room going to look come next season?
It could look significantly different. 11 of the 22 starters in that playoff game against the Rams are free agents. And that does not include Chris Godwin, who was lost for the season with a torn ACL and played under the franchise tag this year. So there could be some significant changes. We just don't know. They pushed some of their 2021 salary cap burden into future years in an attempt to repeat a Super Bowl champion. So there's a bill coming due in 2022 and 2023. Some of the big question marks. Leonard Fournette, did he play his way into another contract with the Bucs? Based on what he did in 2021, I would say yes. Rob Gronkowski, if his future just seems so intertwined with Tom Brady's because he's the only quarterback that he's ever played with. So I think a lot of what Rob does will hinge on what Tom does. And you look, Ryan Jensen, the center, who has been, Tom Brady's center his whole 2 years here. That, he's got a decision to make, and the Bucs have a decision to make about him. And we could go on and on. Ndamukong Suh, he played on a 1-year deal this year. Jason Pierre-Paul is about to have rotator cuff surgery, and he's 33 years old now, I believe. So he has a decision to make about whether he wants to keep playing, and the Bucs have a decision to make about whether they want to stick with him. So yes, how different it will look different, how significantly, time will tell and money will tell.
Yes, it'll certainly be an interesting, busy offseason for that front office, crunching the numbers, seeing what they can do there. So everyone, be sure you're following along with all of our coverage of that as things unfold. We'll have it here for you over on social media at Sports by Tampa Bay Times and also up at tampabay.com.